8 signs she's losing interest in you. Walk away with dignity. Let's be brutally honest for a moment. Far too many men today spend months, even years, chasing women who never truly felt a spark for them in the first place. They see the coldness, but explain it away. They notice the distance, yet convince themselves she's just stressed, she's busy, she'll come around eventually. But here's the harsh reality. When a woman truly wants you, you'll feel it in her energy, her effort, and her actions. And when she doesn't, that truth is just as obvious if you're willing to face it. Welcome to Ancient Stoic Secrets, where timeless wisdom meets the hard truths of modern relationships. This channel isn't here to feed you false hope or sugar-coated lies. The dating world already has enough of that. Advice that keeps men chasing illusions, wasting their most precious resource, time. My mission is different. I want to wake you up. Because when a woman isn't interested, it's not about sending the perfect text, waiting for weeks, or proving that you're worthy of her attention. The truth is simpler and more painful. She never saw you in that way to begin with. Here's the mistake most men make. They think persistence can rewrite her feelings. They believe that if they just give more gifts, more attention, and more effort, she'll eventually feel the same way. But all this does is strip away her respect piece by piece. A Stoic man understands this. The more you chase someone who's walking away, the more you betray yourself. That's why today we'll cut through the illusions and reveal 7 undeniable signs she's not the one for you. If you notice even 2 or 3 of these signs, it's time to stop chasing, reclaim your dignity, and walk away with calm strength. Before we begin, drop your name and where you're from in the comments, and share what challenge you're facing in your relationship. Together, we'll help you see clearly so you can protect your heart and your time. 1. Time, the silent measure of love and respect. The first and most painful truth you must face is this: time is the currency of respect. When a woman truly values you, she values your time. She shows up when she says she will, she answers your messages without unnecessary delay, and she makes an effort to see you, not because it's convenient, but because being with you matters to her. But when her interest fades, or worse, was never there in the first place, you'll notice a quiet shift. Your time suddenly becomes cheap in her eyes. She's late without apology. She cancels plans last minute with vague excuses. She leaves your texts unread for hours, sometimes days, while somehow always finding time for social media or friends. Imagine this. You've been planning a Friday night dinner all week. She agreed with excitement in her voice, and you've been looking forward to it. Then, just 1 hour before, she sends a quick message, "Something came up, let's reschedule." You wait for her to suggest another time, but she never does.
That silence isn't an oversight. It's communication. She's telling you without words, you're not a priority. And here's the part many men don't realize. Every time you tolerate this behavior, you silently teach her that your time has no value. The more you accept lateness and cancellations, the more she begins to see you as desperate. And nothing kills attraction faster than desperation. Think about your own life for a moment. When something is truly important to you, a career opportunity, a close friend in need, a personal dream, you make time for it. You rearrange your schedule, you show up, you give it attention. Why would it be any different for her? A Stoic man doesn't beg or cling to someone who disrespects his time. He sees lateness and excuses for what they really are, reflections of her priorities. And he remembers this timeless principle. To give your time to someone who wastes it is to betray yourself. So the sign is clear. If she no longer respects your time, she no longer respects you. And the moment you recognize this, you face a choice. Continue waiting in false hope, or walk away with your dignity intact. Because at the end of the day, your time isn't just minutes on a clock. It's pieces of your life you will never get back. And a man who understands this never gives it away to someone who treats it carelessly. 2. When her phone speaks louder than her words. One of the clearest signs that her heart isn't with you is something so simple yet so painful. Her phone becomes more important than you. Think about it. When someone is truly excited to be with you, their focus is naturally on you. Their eyes light up when you walk into the room. The conversation flows and you feel a sense of presence, as if in that moment you are the only person who matters. But when her interest fades, everything changes. Suddenly, the glowing screen in her hand captures more of her energy than you ever could. You're sitting across from her at a cafe, sharing a story, and she's scrolling through Instagram. She's laughing at jokes sent by someone else while you sit in silence, trying to keep her attention. You ask what's so funny, and she brushes you off with, "Oh, nothing," before diving right back into her messages. Here's a truth many men ignore. Attention is the purest currency of love and attraction. If she can give her undivided focus to TikTok videos, random group chats, and endless notifications, but can't give you 5 uninterrupted minutes, she's telling you, without words, that her mind and heart are elsewhere. And yet many men tolerate it. They sit quietly, hoping she'll eventually put the phone down. They convince themselves it's not a big deal because they fear conflict or rejection. But by staying silent, they send a dangerous message. It's okay to treat me as background noise. Imagine this scenario. You're on what's supposed to be a romantic date, but half the time she's on her phone. Meanwhile, when she's with her friends, she's fully engaged, laughing, and present. The difference isn't subtle, it's staggering. And deep down, you already know what it means.
A Stoic man doesn't beg for attention. He understands a simple principle. Where her attention goes, her energy flows. If her focus is constantly elsewhere, then so is her attraction. He doesn't explode in anger or demand that she change. Instead, he observes, accepts the truth, and makes a decision that protects his self-respect. Because here's the reality. You can't compete with a phone, and you shouldn't have to. If she values likes and notifications more than meaningful connection, it's time to walk away. Not to punish her, but to honor yourself. When a woman truly wants you, she will put her phone down, look you in the eyes, and make you feel like you matter. Anything less isn't love. It's a distraction disguised as a relationship. Three, I'm busy is just a gentle goodbye. We all have responsibilities, jobs, families, bills to pay. Life can get chaotic, but here's an undeniable truth. People always make time for what they truly value. When a woman is genuinely interested, she will find a way to stay connected with you even on the busiest of days. She'll send a quick text on her lunch break, make a short call before bed, or mark her calendar weeks in advance to ensure she sees you. Why? Because being with you matters to her. Effort naturally flows from genuine desire. But when her feelings fade, or were never strong to begin with, suddenly, "I'm busy" becomes her favorite phrase. It's polite, it's non-confrontational, but it's also a shield to keep you at arm's length. She'll say she's too busy to meet, too busy to call, too busy to even reply. Yet Somehow she has time to hang out with friends, binge watch her favorite shows, and post constantly on social media. This isn't about her schedule, it's about her priorities. The mistake many men make is believing her words instead of observing her actions. They think, if I'm patient enough, if I keep showing her how much I care, she'll come around. But every time you accept "I'm busy" without question, you silently agree to be last on her list. And worse, you teach her that it's okay to treat you as an afterthought. Imagine this. You've been waiting all week to see her. You rearranged your schedule, turned down plans with friends, maybe even skipped a work event. Then, a few hours before you're supposed to meet, she sends a short text. "Hey, sorry, I'm swamped tonight. Rain check?" You respond with understanding because you don't want to seem needy. But deep down, you feel that sting, the sinking feeling that you just don't matter to her the way she matters to you. A Stoic man doesn't ignore that feeling. He knows that true connection is built on mutual effort. He doesn't punish her or lash out. Instead, he simply adjusts his own priorities. Because you can't build a meaningful relationship with someone who refuses to invest even the smallest effort. Here's a powerful truth. The word busy is rarely about time. It's about choice. When someone says they're too busy for you, what they really mean is, you're not important enough for me to choose right now. And once you see that clearly, the decision becomes yours. Will you keep waiting in false hope, or will you respect yourself enough to stop chasing and walk away, leaving space for someone who truly wants to be in your life? Because in the end, love is never about perfect timing. It's about willingness. And if she's never willing, that tells you everything you need to know.
4. When conversation feels like hard work. One of the clearest signs a woman isn't truly interested in you isn't found in her words, but in the energy of your conversations. When someone is drawn to you, dialogue flows naturally. She's curious about your life, she laughs at your stories, and she adds her own. It feels like a rhythm, two people dancing in sync, sharing and building connection without even trying. But when she doesn't feel that spark, every interaction begins to feel like work. You ask a question, and she responds with a short, flat answer. You tell a funny story, and instead of genuine laughter, you get a polite smile or a half-hearted chuckle. You feel the weight of the entire conversation resting on your shoulders, and it leaves you drained. Imagine this. You text her something thoughtful in the morning. She replies hours later with a single word, "Cool." That's not just laziness. That's a lack of emotional investment. If you were truly on her mind, she would want to engage, to share, to connect. Instead, she's doing the bare minimum to keep you around while her heart is elsewhere. Many men make the mistake of thinking they can fix this. They believe if they just become wittier, more charming, or tell the right story, they'll magically ignite her interest. But attraction doesn't work like that. You can't talk someone into wanting you. Real connection can't be manufactured. It either exists or it doesn't. Think about your closest friendships. You don't have to force those conversations, do you? Even on bad days, there's a natural flow because both people want to be there. The same principle applies to romantic relationships. If you're always the one carrying the weight, always the one initiating, always the one fighting silence, she's showing you where she stands. A Stoic man sees this clearly. He doesn't cling to empty exchanges or confuse politeness for passion. Instead, he steps back, knowing that his voice deserves to be heard by someone who truly wants to listen. Because here's the truth. A woman who can't meet you halfway in conversation will never meet you halfway in life. So if every talk feels like pulling teeth, stop blaming yourself for trying to say the right thing. The problem isn't your words, it's her lack of desire to connect. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all, as you walk away with your dignity intact. 5. When she avoids being alone with you. True attraction naturally seeks closeness.
When a woman genuinely likes you, she looks forward to those quiet, private moments where it's just the two of you. That's where intimacy grows. Not just physical closeness, but emotional connection. It's in those moments where walls come down, laughter feels natural, and you both get to see each other as you truly are. But when she isn't interested, she'll do everything she can to avoid being alone with you. She might agree to hang out, but somehow there's always a group involved. She brings a friend along to what was supposed to be a one-on-one dinner. Or she suggests public settings where there's noise, distraction, and no chance for real vulnerability. At first, you might tell yourself she's just shy, or that she feels safer in groups. But deep down, you know the truth. If she wanted private time with you, she would make it happen. A woman who's attracted to you will create opportunities to be alone with you, not avoid them. Imagine this scenario. You invite her over to cook dinner together. She agrees, then texts you later, "Hey, mind if my friend comes too?" You say yes because you don't want to seem controlling, but when the evening ends, you're left with an empty feeling, realizing you didn't actually connect with her at all. Here's the hard reality. By settling for group interactions, you're not moving forward, you're staying stuck. You might think, at least I'm around her, that has to count for something. But it doesn't. It's like standing outside a warm house on a freezing night, watching through the window while other people sit by the fire. You're close enough to see what you want, but never close enough to truly have it.
A Stoic man understands this dynamic. He doesn't cling to crumbs of attention or confuse proximity with progress. He knows that being physically near someone who isn't emotionally invested is not intimacy, it's self-deception. If she continually avoids one-on-one moments, she's sending you a message. I don't want the same connection you do. The most powerful thing you can do in that moment is respect her truth and walk away before you lose yourself completely. Because here's a principle worth remembering. You cannot build closeness with someone who keeps building walls. And you deserve to be with someone who doesn't just tolerate your presence, but actively desires it. 6. Her body language tells the truth, her words won't. Words can be carefully chosen, a smile can be faked, but the body never lies. When a woman truly desires you, her body will show it long before her mouth ever says the words. She'll lean toward you during conversation, her eyes will lock with yours, and her gestures will feel open and inviting. Even subtle touches, a hand on your arm, a playful nudge, are her way of signaling, "I'm drawn to you." But when she isn't interested, the shift is just as clear. She angles her body away, even when standing right next to you. Her arms cross over her chest like a shield. She avoids steady eye contact, glancing at her phone or around the room instead. If you move closer, she subtly takes a step back. The energy feels cold, closed off, and distant, like a door quietly being shut in your face. Here's where many men sabotage themselves. They ignore these signals. They focus on her words instead. Maybe she's still polite. Maybe she still smiles out of courtesy, and they tell themselves, she's just shy, or she's playing hard to get. But deep down, they know something feels off. And each time they chase harder, they only push her further away. Let me give you an example. Imagine you're talking with her at a party. You lean in to share a private joke, but she takes a small step back, laughs slightly, and immediately changes the subject. She's not being mean, she's being honest, just without words. Her body is saying, "This is as close as I'm comfortable getting." A Stoic man pays attention to these unspoken truths. He doesn't try to force her comfort or prove himself by pushing past her boundaries. He understands that real attraction invites closeness. If she's physically pulling away,
it means her heart has already pulled away too. The lesson is simple but powerful. When someone wants you, they naturally lean in, emotionally and physically. When they don't, their posture, their eyes, and their distance will make it painfully clear. So believe what her body is telling you, even if her words try to soften the blow. And most importantly, respect yourself enough to walk away. Because a man who ignores his own instincts to chase someone who's already turned away isn't just losing her, he's losing himself. 7. When she flirts with others right in front of you. One of the most painful and undeniable signs she isn't into you is this. She openly gives her attention to other men while you're standing right there. When a woman truly values you, she protects your heart, even in subtle ways. Her focus is on you, her laughter, her body language, her energy. It all flows in your direction because she's proud to be with you. But when she doesn't feel that way, her behavior changes and you'll see it immediately. Maybe you're out together at a party or a group dinner. Another man cracks a joke, and suddenly she's laughing a little too loudly, leaning closer to him, even playfully touching his arm. Her eyes linger just a second too long, while you're sitting right there, silently shrinking inside. It's a gut punch, a wave of embarrassment you can't put into words. Now here's where many men go wrong. They see this as a challenge. They think, if I just step up my game, if I prove I'm better than that guy, she'll notice me instead. But love isn't a competition. It's not a sports match where the hardest worker wins. If she's already leaning towards someone else, fighting for her attention only makes you look insecure and desperate. And make no mistake, she knows exactly what she's doing. Sometimes she's simply indifferent and doesn't care how it looks. Other times it's deliberate. She's subtly letting you know where you rank in her world. Second place, maybe even third.
A Stoic man refuses to play this game. He doesn't chase validation by trying to outshine other men. He recognizes the signal for what it truly is: rejection disguised as flirtation. And instead of getting angry or jealous, he simply walks away, quietly, calmly, and with his dignity intact. Ask yourself this: do you really want to be with someone who makes you feel like you have to fight for scraps of her attention? Or do you want a woman who chooses you without hesitation, who makes it clear that you are the only man in the room for her? The answer is simple. If she openly flirts with others in front of you, believe her actions. Don't argue, don't plead, don't try to change her. Respect yourself enough to leave. Because when you stop trying to win her over, you win something far more valuable: your self-respect. Remember, a man who values himself never competes for someone's love. He chooses to walk away and invest his heart where it's truly cherished. 8. The power of walking away. A real-life example. Sometimes the clearest lessons don't come from books or quotes. They come from real experiences. Let me tell you about Daniel, a man I once spoke with who learned this lesson the hard way. Daniel was a successful architect in his mid-30s. From the outside, he seemed to have everything: a great career, good friends, a stable life. But inside, he was consumed by one thing: a woman named Emily. She was beautiful, charismatic, and whenever they were together, Daniel felt alive. The problem? Emily never truly chose him. At first, she seemed interested. They went on a few dates, she laughed at his jokes, and Daniel felt certain they were building something real. But slowly the signs began to appear. She was always busy, always surrounded by friends,
and often flirted with other men right in front of him. He saw these red flags, but he ignored them. He believed that if he just worked harder, bought nicer gifts, sent sweeter texts, and proved his devotion, she would finally see his worth. For 2 years, Daniel chased a fantasy, while Emily kept him in the background. She wasn't cruel. She simply enjoyed the attention without offering commitment. And Daniel paid for it with his time, his energy, and his self-respect. One night, after she canceled plans yet again, with a vague "something came up," Daniel sat alone in his apartment, feeling completely hollow. In his frustration, he picked up a book of Stoic writings and read a line by Marcus Aurelius. "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." In that moment, everything became clear. Daniel couldn't control Emily's feelings. He couldn't make her want him, but he could control his response. And the strongest response wasn't to chase, it was to let go. The very next day, Daniel stopped reaching out. No drama, no angry messages, no final speech.
He simply reclaimed his time and his focus. Within weeks, Emily drifted away completely. And for the first time in years, Daniel felt free. Not because he won her back, but because he won himself back. This is what many men fail to understand. Walking away isn't weakness. It's one of the most powerful moves you can make. When you stop begging for her attention, you send a message to the world and to yourself that your value is not dependent on someone else's validation. So if you see these signs in your own life, remember Daniel's story. You don't need to fight, argue, or prove anything. You simply need to choose yourself. Because the moment you walk away from someone who doesn't truly want you, you open the door for someone who will. And more importantly, you prove to yourself that you are enough, exactly as you are. Choosing yourself is the ultimate power. Here's the unshakable truth, my friend. When a woman truly wants you, you'll never have to guess. Her actions will speak louder than any words, clearer than any promise. But when she doesn't, you'll feel it too, through the silence, the excuses, the distractions, and the way she slowly drifts further and further away. Too many men waste years ignoring the obvious, convincing themselves that if they just hold on a little longer, give a little more, or fight a little harder, things will change. But love doesn't work that way. You cannot force attraction, and you cannot convince someone to value you by giving up pieces of yourself. Imagine holding a handful of sand. The tighter you squeeze, the faster it slips through your fingers. That's what chasing someone who isn't truly invested feels like. You end up with nothing but exhaustion and regret. Here's the Stoic truth. You can't control her feelings, but you can control your response. Walking away doesn't mean you've lost. It means you've chosen to protect your peace, your dignity, and your future. It means you stopped negotiating for someone's love and started investing in the most important relationship you'll ever have, the one with yourself. Think of Daniel's story we shared earlier. He didn't win by convincing Emily to stay. He won by realizing his worth wasn't tied to her attention, and that victory brought him a freedom he didn't even know he was missing. So, if you've recognized even a few of these signs in your own life, take a deep breath and ask yourself, am I holding on to her, or am I holding myself back? The answer may hurt now, but clarity is the first step toward true strength. When you walk away from someone who doesn't truly want you, you open the door for someone who will. But more importantly, you prove to yourself that you are enough, exactly as you are. If this message spoke to you, don't keep it to yourself.
Subscribe to Ancient Stoic Secrets, where we explore timeless wisdom to help you master your relationships, your mindset, and your life. Turn on notifications so you never miss a new video. And in the comments below, share your story. What was the hardest lesson you've learned about love and self-respect? Your journey matters, and by sharing it, you just might inspire another man to finally let go of what's holding him back and step boldly into the life he was meant to live.